everybody. Dumping Dish, episode 9. Coach Zane, how we doing today?
Doing great. How you doing, Switz?
I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I skated with the big boys at the end. I had to fill in on a line.
Yeah.
Legs are a little tired today.
Well, you can still play Bantam Central States.
I'm in it. I can do it.
Yeah.
I'm glad to say.
For a game, at least.
For half a game.
Half a game.
Let's be
Half a
real.
game.
Maybe a period. But I wouldn't embarrass myself still.
No, you did great with them. You were doing just fine. But I was a little worried about you a couple times. I thought you were bent over and catching the breath.
No, just stretching the back out. Just getting the back stretched out. Just got to get the back stretched out.
Oh, that's funny.
How we doing? How's your world going over there?
The world's doing great. No issues. Summer camps have been awesome. What a great change of pace, and it's really cool to see those kids progress from Monday to Friday.
Oh,
it's unbelievable every year.
It just surprises us every week. It's not even every year; it's every week.
Well, I forget over the course of the season how impactful those camps are on kids.
Yeah.
And then in their skill development and just watching them continue to grow and progress as hockey players over the course of a week. It's amazing. We had a third to a half of the kids in our beginner camp that couldn't stop.
Yeah.
And we're down to like one. We call
one snowplow.
One snowplow.
Yeah,
so
we're down to a snowplow.
Yeah. So everybody else is now stopping, and we've got one kid that's still snowplowing. But
everybody's crossing over.
Everybody's crossing over. And that was not the case at the beginning of the week. So really cool. Everybody's passing now. Tomorrow we get to go up and down the ice passing.
Oh yeah.
Instead of just standing still with forehand and backhand passes. But yeah, it always amazes me. Come Wednesday, it's starting to come together. Thursday, Friday, it's really cool to see those just take off.
Oh yeah. What do you got going this weekend? Anything fun?
Not really. No, this is a down weekend for us coming up. Just a relaxation weekend. I with being on the ice, 5 to 7 hours a day, depending on the day, whether we're doing small groups before camps and things like that. Just got to recover. Got to
eat a lot.
Yeah.
Drink a lot.
I do.
Water, that is water.
Yeah. I do like the summer times because I don't have to watch what I eat at all. We're just burning calories left and right. In fact, I have
4 meals.
It's back to playing hockey. I have to overeat to make sure that, I just, keep the energy and keep the levels up. And water. That's the biggest thing. Just hydration. Again, it's just like being back to playing.
What are you doing for the big game tomorrow night? Anything good?
Tomorrow night.
Oilers need your help. Your Oilers need your help. You're going to be busting out some push-ups if they play like that some more.
Yeah. Can't play Florida hockey there.
No.
They got roped into trying to play Florida hockey, and that's not their business. That's not their business. Let's stretch this game out. Let's make it a skill game. Let's let McDavid dance. Do not get into a fist fight with the Florida Panthers.
After the whistle shenanigans should probably stop. You're just not that guy, pal.
Yeah, no, just stop that and let's play our game. Let's play Oilers hockey. And not get roped into the Florida stuff. And, it is tough with, giving up a game at home in Edmonton. We got to steal one. We got to steal a game in Florida, and that's tough. That's Stanley Cup Finals. Anywhere you're playing, there's a big home ice advantage.
Oh, yeah.
That comes with that. So
that's for sure.
What's your takes on the series so far?
What a great series. First 2 games, best I've ever seen for a Stanley Cup playoffs. 2 overtimes. One went one way, one went the other way. Both could have gone either which way. Goalies are playing phenomenal, minus the last game. I think, the Oilers just need a reset. Hopefully they can settle back down, and they got some good leadership on that team. They learned a lot, I think, last year, so hopefully they can regroup and get back to their game plan, make it a series. But I'm not going to be sad if they don't. I'm just counting off 20 for you.
Well, and most of the time when we come to this time of the season, we're talking about which teams, has the most experience there. But,
they both have been there.
They've both been there,
Yep.
and obviously Florida's won it where the Oilers haven't, but they've been there, and it's been just an exciting back and forth playoff series, and I love that it's 2 completely different styles of teams.
Oh, and totally different.
And whoever can get the other team to switch their style is the team that's winning these games.
What do you think Sam Bennett gets paid next year? Where's he going? Where is he going? Is he staying or is he going? And what
I don't know how
that salary is.
How do you let him go? He during the season he's not phenomenal, but
he's not your 100-point scorer.
No, but him, Corey Perry on the other side of the fence, like when
he might be 7 straight losses in the Stanley Cup Finals, though they say.
That is, okay. You have to get to the finals to lose 7 in a row.
Yeah,
in the finals.
I'm not throwing any shade.
It's kind of like the shade thrown at Rod Brandamore also. Like, third round you have trouble, but you got to make it to the third round. There's a lot of coaches that would love to be in the third round of the Stanley Cup Final.
Every year.
Yeah, every year. And, yes, we struggled there, and we've got to figure some things out. But at the end of the day, people would die to be in that position to
100%.
have that chance. But no, I mean there's the veteran experience come playoff time, and that different level that they can take their game to is amazing to watch. And they're not going to do it for 82 games during the season. But when that light switch goes on and it's time for playoff hockey, and
it's wild how the game changes.
They've got 16 wins that are written up on that board, and they're checking them off, and that's their number one goal.
How do you value playoff point producers relative financial contracts? I know that's a big chat right now. How do you value it, or do you want the Mitch Marner who will guarantee a playoff spot but will be 3 points in your 2 rounds, or do you go Sam Bennett who's just going to light it up the whole time and just be the best in the business at playoff hockey?
Well,
but you might miss the playoffs with him because he's not putting up 120 points.
So could you have the best of both worlds where I get Mitch and then all of a sudden at the trade deadline I go after Sam really hard and just hope that his team doesn't make it?
Toronto might be getting them there.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're putting in an offer.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best of both worlds where you have that point producer day in, day out, the steady Eddie during the season.
The Barkov.
Yeah, maybe doesn't perform the best in the playoffs, and then come that trade deadline day, you start shopping and even shopping those guys if you know that they're going to fall apart in the playoffs. Like, all right, you got us to this point. Sorry, bud, but like this is a business. At the end of the day, like we got to put the best team on the ice, and now it's time to flip into playoff hockey time.
All right, let's look at the bracket challenge here. We got a lot going. We got Mr. Peterson still in first and Shar 3,390, but they got a problem coming down the pipe, Coach. They've maxed out their points at 239. Fedkey, if the Oilers win, it looks like you're going to be taking home a sweet new stick.
Yep.
And then Wally 5605, if the Florida wins, they'll be taking home a new stick. I'm interested to see how this plays out. I mean, I think, Wally's going to win, obviously.
Yeah,
We're going to be counting off 20 for Coach Zane, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, it's been pretty cool to watch that, watch the brackets, and it's wild that the number 1 and number 2 don't have anybody in the finals. So
crazy.
Yeah, they can't win it. Florida wins it, Fedkey wins, and then Wally wins it if the Oilers win. Did I say that correctly?
Backwards.
Sorry, I'm backwards on that.
Fedkey has Oilers.
But yeah, let's go Fedkeys. Yeah, and
I like the Fedkeys, but not that much.
But yeah, our top 2 guys are sitting up top without anything. They can't win it.
Yeah. All right. Topic of the week: fundamentals in hockey. How important are they? Where do we stop? Where do we use them? What do you think, Coach? Let's break it down a little bit. I know we're kind of biased, but what are your thoughts on fundamentals? And I'll hang up and listen.
Sure. Fundamentals are the key. At the end of the day, they are the key to hockey. You have to build that foundation, no different than building a building. If you don't have a strong foundation, the rest of the building is, and we see a lot of kids that come in to see us that have a fancy move here or can do this or that maybe works 1 out of 10 times.
And you only get that chance
maybe
once a game to use it.
And, they've practiced that so much that, yes, they've got that one move down.
Sick Michigan.
They got the Michigan or the spinorama or whatever it is, like through the legs going down on a one-on-one. Sweet, you can pull that off 1 out of 10 times, and you can only use that 1 out of 10 times on the rush. And then you put them in lines and you say, okay, we're just going to do a simple 1-2 move going down the ice. And
or balance on 1 foot.
Yeah, and the pucks are flying everywhere or they're falling down. Yeah, I'm always amazed every week when we go all the way back to balance, even with our intermediate advanced groups. And there's always a couple of kids that cannot glide down the ice on 1 foot.
And you'd bet they could, no problem, by how good their other skills. You know what I mean? How they look when they, are just skating normal. And then you see it, and then you're like, oh, pick up 1 foot and bounce, and we're having to set that toe down all the time.
90% of our game is on 1 foot.
That's it.
Your skating is always 1 foot on the ice. And I'm amazed at how many people just can't balance that, and they shorten their stride because they're trying to jump off of a foot because they don't feel comfortable there. So really, really focusing on those fundamentals, getting those down, and even if you've developed some bad habits, like going back and working on those fundamentals. And the off season is a great time to do that. You can seek out help. You can seek out ways to build those fundamentals and slow it down to where you work on them, tune them, get them the right way.
Get them dialed in.
Yeah, and as we always say here at St. Louis Hockey Training, smooth is fast.
That's it.
And smoothing those out so it's not short choppy strides or short choppy stick handles. we're nice.
No Gordon
and
Ramsay
smooth.
chopping.
Yeah, no chopping carrots in the kitchen. We use that
That's
one all the
it,
time.
yep.
Hey, chef, what are you doing over there chopping carrots? I don't like square pucks.
Yeah. Yep.
But sweeping that puck and feeling that puck and keeping it on your stick where your stick is not separating from the puck by feet. It's half of an inch, and you're just flipping that blade over the puck when you're stick handling, just smoothing everything out under control. Everything's timed. It's like a dance.
It's
like
100% dancing.
When you're
Flow.
just flowing as you're going down the
flow.
feel the rhythm. But yeah, when you watch somebody who's stick handling down the ice and it's all timed, it's so pretty.
Yeah, it works with your feet and your hands are working together.
Yeah, it is just like a dance, and balance, same thing. Once you can balance on one foot, sweet. Now we can talk about transitions.
Now do it backwards.
Yeah, and do it backwards, and then we can talk about transitions where, again, we're on one foot the whole time. Now we can talk about crossovers on one foot all the time and finding the right edges and finding the right pressure points in your foot. Even going into a tight turn where we pick up the inside foot, heel push with the outside foot. We're still on one foot there for the first part of a tight turn till we separate those knees with
then you're
with the
coming
heel
back
push.
out with a crossover, so
Back on one foot again.
Yep.
So balance is such a key fundamental that most players overlook, and they try to just go too fast. It's like we tell the kids all the time, it's like riding a bike. If I make you ride a bike at 2 miles an hour, it's significantly harder than if I let you go 10 miles an hour,
Down the
20
hills.
miles an hour down the hill. Like, there's a reason, like, when kids are learning how to ride a bike, we give them a push.
Yep.
Like we
Get
give
moving.
them, we give them some speed to get moving. The hardest one for my daughters is those first 2 pushes. I'm done giving you pushes. Like, you got to figure this out. But even then, they do like a little hop, 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 and then jump on the bike. So they're generating their own speed before they truly have to balance. And it's the same aspect in hockey. These kids that say, oh, I can balance, sweet. Well, they go 10 miles an hour down the ice. Of course you can balance like that. But when you're in the corner and you're getting knocked around and all of a sudden you're on one foot, can you really balance while you're standing
Can
still?
you get on that inside edge and take that balance?
That's exactly right. Or
Can
take
you roll
that
it?
contact. When somebody's pushing on your back in front of the net, are you going to face plant, or can you bend those knees and brace yourself and push back and be successful?
What do you think? Let's talk top 5 fundamentals that you think are the most important.
Balance. Yeah, I think balance is number one
For skating.
Yeah, for skating side of things, balance is a number one. Edge work, making sure you can find your inside and outside edges.
Big time.
And again,
and getting lower on them and really laying it over.
Yeah, and trusting them. But that also comes back to there's nothing like being on ice that you can practice those the same way. Like, that just takes practice of those fundamentals on ice to find those edges, to find that flat, to work on those things. You can't just like go out, other sports like soccer, cool, you want to work in fundamentals, go in the front yard with the ball. Yeah. And we can work on things. Those are things that we need to be in those skates to find those. Rollerblades are kind of close, but it's still not exactly the same. But pretty close there.
They're decent to start.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No.
If you can do a good crossover in blades, it's going to feel a little different, but usually you can find that edge.
Yeah. So after that, stick handling fundamentals.
Sweep and push.
Yes, the timing of it, but I'm even backing up even more. How to hold your stick.
Oh, yep.
How many times do we see and
video game player?
Well, and it goes back to 10 years ago. It all of a sudden, it probably even longer now. Shoot, I'm getting older.
Old man.
Yeah, it might have been 15 years ago. But all of a sudden, all these kids started holding their stick with their thumb up. And, we couldn't figure it out. I wasn't with you at that time, but, we could not figure out why this was starting to happen and why these kids. And then all of a sudden, one day, one of the dads was like, oh, it's because they all play video games. And they all play on tablets. So they have really strong thumbs compared to when we were kids. So they want to hold that thumb up like they're playing their video game or their tablet instead of thumb down. So they cradle that stick. Well, now I can't stick handle. I can't roll this wrist. So we got to get that thumb down. And then, oh my gosh, how many times do they hold the stick?
A mile apart.
Yeah. So it buries that top hand behind them. They can't move the top hand. Get those hands closer. One big glove length in between, and then having that, how to hold that stick is so important. And it's no different than other sports. Golf, first golf lesson I took, the guy, was like, whoa, what are you doing there? You're holding that. How are you holding that golf club? And then, it's amazing just getting the right grip in a sport can change everything. So I would say that's number 2 with stick handling is make sure we have the right grip first. Then it's the timing. It's the sweeping and pushing as we're going down the ice again, feeling that flow back and forth.
You got balance, edge work, stick handling. What's 4?
I'm going to go over to shooting on this one and talk about hand placement on shooting too. That's something that we see a lot of, that they are in 2 different spots, but they're very close together, and switching between stick handling and shooting spots on their stick. I see a lot of people that try to stick handle with their hand too low in that shooting spot, or vice versa. So knowing where those spots are on your stick of where to stick handle, and at St. Louis Hockey Training, we put a piece of tape there.
Just tape it up.
Yeah, so I put a piece of tape there. That's where you shoot. When you're stick handling, I should be able to see that piece of tape. So it's a very quick, I can watch a kid from half an ice rink away, and I can see that white tape. If it's showing, their hand's in the right spot for stick handling, and then when they go to shoot, they better cover that.
Yeah.
It also trains their brain. They'll slide their hand down until they feel that tape and grab, so then they're in the right spot for shooting. So getting those in the right spots. What do I got? One more left here?
One more. That was 4.
What would I say?
I got the last one for you.
Go for it.
Learn how to spin a puck.
Yeah.
Got to learn to go heel to toe. Put some spin on that puck.
Yeah, no dead passes and dead shooting. We see that a lot, and that's why we have those X's on our pucks for St. Louis Hockey Training. And so when people are like, "Oh, you're marking your pucks," so when they're around the rink, I'm like, "No, we don't care."
No.
Like I see them in buckets all over the place. I mean,
we just started putting our names on it.
Yeah, no, the X's have been there. It started with, was it tape or whiteout? I forget what we did the first.
Yeah, it was tape.
It was tape.
Problem is, if it flips over, it doesn't slide very well.
Yeah, on one side, we put tape across it. But the whole goal there is that if you spin it correctly, it just becomes a dot in the middle of whatever color you put on top of the puck.
Well, it's easy to see across the ice again.
Yep.
I can see if you're passing dead pucks because that X stays visible.
Yeah, so you can you can see from a mile away if they're doing it right, and it's rolling from the heel to the toe when they're shooting or passing.
Yep.
And that's so important for that. So.
All right, that's all I got, Coach. It's getting hot in here. I'm tired for the day. I can't play with the big boys anymore. You're up tomorrow, buddy.
I'm up tomorrow? All right, I got him.
All right, well, episode 9 in the books. Thanks, Alyssa. Oh, how's our live going? How's our live? How many videos? We got 4 people. Hey,
we got 4
everybody.
people on
Look
TikTok
alive.
Live. Yeah.
Look alive. All right, I'm wrapping it up. That's episode 9 in the books. See ya.
Have a great night.